It's now possible to get 100s in all 6 stats at once, and it's actually pretty easy. So in this video, I'll show you how I made the perfect build and a few ways you can create it for yourself. I'm Marshix, and this is my Warlock build. You may be wondering why I have 70s in every stat. That's because there are 6 new mods this season that can raise your stat totals by 30 points each. And you can equip all of them at once to turn all 70s into 100s. Font of Wisdom increases intellect on helmets, Font of Focus for discipline on gauntlets, Font of Vigor for strength on gauntlets, Font of Endurance for resilience on chest pieces, Font of Agility for mobility on boots, and Font of Restoration for recovery on class items. Each of these mods will increase their respective stat by 30 points while you have an armor charge, and they actually stack with themselves. So one mod is a plus 30, 2 of the same mod will raise that to plus 50, and 3 mods will make it plus 60. This means we no longer need to go for double or triple 100 builds. Just go for 50s or 70s and use these mods to make up for the lack of stats. Keep in mind, you will need an armor charge, but that's not a problem because there's so many ways to get charged and keep that charge. By default, picking up an Orb of Power will give you an armor charge. To generate orbs, I'm using Harmonic Siphon to spawn them with my weapons, Firepower to spawn them with grenades, and Shatter Orbs to create them by breaking shields. You could also go with Heavy-Handed to spawn them with melee kills if you prefer that over Firepower. We can also keep this charge for a very long time thanks to Time Dilation. This mod will increase the timer of each charge from 10 seconds to 15. 2 of these mods will increase the timer to 18 seconds for each charge, and 3 will increase it to 20 seconds. In order to consistently keep your font mods active, you'll need at least one of these. I feel like 2 is the sweet spot, and 3 is kind of overkill. Then, to extend the timer, just grab Orbs of Power, which you should be creating every couple seconds. And since we're already running a Time Dilation build, we might as well add in 2 weapon surges to increase the damage of your weapon. This doesn't take away from anything, it's just an extra buff that we have going in the background. Now, it's actually impossible to get 70s in every stat without using a few extra stat increases. Let's talk about the most common ones first, then go over some interesting sources. Fragments. In your subclass, some fragments will affect stats. I won't go over every single one of them, but some fragments will increase certain stats by 10 points, some will decrease stats by 10 points, and a few of them will raise 2 stats by 10 points. If you are going for a perfect build, you will need some of these, but don't use bad fragments just for the stats, because the trade-off is really not worth it. Another way to increase stats is through mods. Each piece of armor can hold a 10-point stat mod in the first column, and Artifice Armor has an additional slot that increases any stat by 3 points completely for free. Artifice Armor is definitely worth it now because of this change. 3 points might not sound like much, but it can help push you over to the next tier for some stats. You can only get Artifice Armor from Master Grasp of Avarice, Master Duality, and Master Spire of the Watcher. Between these 3, I recommend farming boss checkpoints and Master Duality because the boss fight isn't too difficult, and it drops 2 items per run. Also, I farmed the other dungeons for Artifice Armor, and for some reason, Duality seems to drop armor with higher stat totals. That might just be me, but I kept getting 50 rolls in Spire, and it really pissed me off. Okay, now let me share a secret glitch that gives you free stats. But first, leave a like on the video. If you don't, you should go love yourself now. There's an ornament that raises your resilience. My resilience right now is 69. Now when I put on the Solstice Robes Rekindled ornament, it goes up to 70. It's only 1 point, but my build wouldn't exist without it. Don't tell Bungie. There's a few more ways to increase stats, but they'll be invisible to the character screen, similar to the font mods. There are a lot of these, so I'll quickly go over the most common ones. Lightweight weapons increase mobility by 20 points while you have them in your hand. The 2XS Origin trait increases discipline and strength by 20 points while you have your supercharged. The Land Tank Origin trait gives you 10 resilience after every kill, stacking up to 3 times. Killing Wind increases mobility by 50 points after a kill. Whisper of Hedrons decreases strength by 10 points, but raises mobility, resilience, and recovery each by 60 points just by freezing an enemy. Echo of Domineering increases mobility by 30 points after suppressing enemies. Dragon Shadow increases mobility by 50 points after dodging. And here are a few more because I'm too lazy to read them out. So, like I said earlier, 100 stats are no longer what we want to go for. Instead, use these awesome new font mods to raise your stats with little effort. And if you use this with other stat sources, you can create the perfect build that can get you 100s in every stat basically all the time. But before you can finish your perfect build, you'll need to upgrade your armor. So check out this video to see how to farm Masterwork materials as a solo player. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Marshix, and I'll see you next time.